Sri Lanka is going through its worst economic crisis since 1948 when the country gained independence. The prices of essential items like food, fuel and medicines have skyrocketed. In Sri Lanka, the citizens have to stand in queues for hours even to get essential commodities. Troops have been deployed at state-run fuel stations to help in distribution. The people have to endure daily power cuts of more than 7 hours. The administration had to cancel the school examination due to shortage of ink and paper. The economic emergency poses a significant challenge for President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who came to power in 2019 promising rapid economic growth. During his presidential campaign, Rajapaksa promised to cut the 15% value-added tax by nearly half and abolish some other taxes as a way to boost consumption and growth. But the tax cuts led to loss of billions of rupees in tax revenues, putting further pressure on the public finances of the already heavily indebted economy. Then came COVID-19, which dealt a huge blow to the tourism sector. The COVID pandemic, coupled with the 2019 Easter bombing, led to a fall in tourism revenues. Also, a significant portion of tourists who travel to Sri Lanka are from Russia and Ukraine, and the Russia-Ukraine war had dented their arrivals. Sri Lanka exports its tea to these two nations and imports almost half of its wheat and sunflower oil from them. The war has caused oil prices to spike up as well. The main cause of the country's crumbling economy is its shortage of foreign currency, which has led to a massive reduction in imports of essential items. The tourism industry, which represents over 10% of the country's gross domestic product and bring in foreign exchange, has been hit hard by coronavirus pandemic. With the supply of foreign exchange drying up, the amount of money that Sri Lankans have had to shell out to purchase the foreign exchange necessary to import goods has risen. So the value of Sri Lankan rupee have depreciated. It has to be noted that the country depends heavily on imports to meet even its basic food supplies. So the price of food items has risen in tandem with the depreciating rupee. The government's decision to prohibit the use of chemical fertilizers in order to transition agriculture to 100% organic had a negative economic impact. Experts predict that this legislation would have a tragic effect on agricultural development because organic farming reduces output by half. A massive foreign debt burden of approximately $5 billion with China alone is a major contributor to this crisis. Sri Lanka is repaying a $1 billion loan acquired from Beijing in 2021. It also owes a large sum of money to India and Japan. Chinese debt has skyrocketed in Sri Lanka, particularly after Sri Lanka signed the BRI agreement in 2014. BRI loans made it possible to build ambitious Sri Lankan projects like Matala Rajapaksa International Airport and Hambantota Port, but they could not even earn their operating expenses. The Sri Lankan government then handed over Hambantota Port to a Chinese company for 99 years. As a consequence, the term debt trap diplomacy came into vogue. The study shows that the Chinese debt was not as bad as advertised. Initially, the Hambantota Port project was not proposed by China. It was Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa who did that. The weakness of the Sri Lankan side was its willingness to take loans for ambitious projects without understanding the economic potential. Second, the project was purely economic one, not a geopolitical one. Third, Sri Lankan's debt crisis is not directly linked to Chinese debt. The situation came to light mainly due to borrowing from Western capital markets and Sri Lanka's internal economic turmoil. Fourth, it does not prove that the loan was given to capture the physical infrastructure. The money paid by the Chinese company to lease the port appears to have helped Sri Lanka pay off its loan, installment or interest. Fifth, the Chinese Navy does not appear to be able to use the port, but the Sri Lankan military can use the structure if it chooses so. Despite this, the Chinese debt trap continues to spread in Western and Indian media. After independence from Britain in 1948, Sri Lanka was expected to become South Asia's economic powerhouse due to its strategic location in Indian Ocean. Singapore made an unimaginable economic leap by utilizing its strategic location for maritime trade, but Sri Lanka failed to do so. Instead, it was engulfed in ethnic conflict. A valuable period was lost suppressing the Tamil rebellion, which was crushed in 2009. In 1997, Sri Lanka became the first South Asia country to adopt economic liberalization. Initially, it experienced rapid economic growth, but the war escalated, which slowed down the country's economy. Effective plans like poverty reduction and social security also slackened, which were its achievements before liberalization. Sri Lanka borrowed large amounts of money from the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, International Monetary Fund, Japan, the United States, and the European Union. Therefore, the root of Sri Lankan's current economic crisis is not Chinese debt, but the economic policy adopted since 1977 in the name of liberal economy. Sri Lanka's experience could be a lesson for Nepal as it seeks to accelerate economic growth by borrowing from the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, or other donor agency or countries. So, Nepal government, please no more loans or donation. No country has been developed by taking donation from any other countries. Jai Nepal. Thank you.